I believe this is most likely the end for Tim Tszyu. If not, we see a very long break.
Mamma mia! That's surely it. Massive right hand. Power does it again. Has made history.
Board Boxing, welcome back to the show. I didn't even know if I was going to keep going with this, but after watching Tim Tszyu and the slew of other title fights we've had over the recent weeks, I had to come back. Tim Tszyu has just never been that guy. He became champion, he defended against Brian Mendoza, lost to Sebastian Fundora, and then he, loses in chaotic and devastating fashion against Bakram Murtazaliev. The Fundora loss, I think, did a lot more than people would initially think. A lot of people after the fact now are saying, okay, this loss really affected him. The cut on the head. I mean, even in the first round when he first got hit, I mean, he was already checking his head. He had some nerves around it. I don't think it hit him until he was in the ring that he was really going up against a very destructive fighter in Murtazaliev, who is relatively unknown in this PBC realm, but still an undefeated Russian fighter. And Tim Tszyu, albeit Aussie fighters love to be tough as well, that come forward style is not going to work on someone who's bigger and who's taken more punches and has a stronger amateur record. It's just not going to work. Tim Tszyu has a walk down style that really only seems to work against lesser opponents. Even against Fundora, Fundora was on 2 weeks notice and Fundora still was able to keep him away at jab. But before that elbow happened, we already saw Tim Tszyu being the aggressor, landing the bigger shots. And unfortunately, the downside to that walk forward style is you need to be able to keep your head off the line or you're going to get tagged a lot. Fundora was able to expose that, obviously, post cut on the head. Of course, Tim Tszyu was blind in one eye. So Tim Tszyu doesn't get to get a title back against Murtazaliev and in devastating fashion. Probably an indication that he needs to take a long, good look in the mirror and decide how he wants to come back. Do I think he's going to retire? I don't. I don't think he'll retire. I don't think this is something he's not going to hang it up after this, even though the towel was thrown in. It was smart by the coaches, smart by the corner. You're getting your ass beat in front of your dad. It's just not looking good for you. You need to come back against someone that's an actual stepping stone again. Fight a journeyman, man. Like, do what every other boxer does after a loss. Fight someone in the middle of the road and come back and face that person. This come forward style is obviously very popular for a reason, especially among these tougher Western fighters. When it comes to, your Tim Tszyu, of course, and a lot of your Latino boxers, Latin American boxers, with the exception of Cubans, really like to do this come forward style. And you're even seeing it in some British boxers right now. I think Tim Tszyu resembles in a way a lot like Nick Ball, who fights at featherweight. So obviously way lighter there. And that could be an indication that even though Tim Tszyu is tough, maybe he should go down a weight class, fight at a lower weight, because this style right now has obviously got him too scared and 154 seems to be too heavy for him. And to the average guy walking around, I mean, Jesus, I'm 200 pounds. 154 seems tiny. But when you got a guy like Murtazaliev who's undefeated, who's got all these knockouts on his record, who has this power ability, this striking ability, and especially when your defense is not of the caliber to get out of the way, Murtazaliev didn't exactly have the quickest hands. He did land some slick counters. He was countering him a lot. But the thing is that Murtazaliev's hand speed is nothing out of this world. So it doesn't make sense to me that there wouldn't be any adjustments made, especially after round one when you are getting tagged as much as you are. Round two, of course, we saw those 3 knockdowns, and it was done from there. And the crazier part is that popularity is one of those things. Vegas won this time around because going into the fight, Tszyu was the favorite to win. I think the odds were like under 188. Murtazaliev was like a plus 200 or even a plus 300. So people were expecting this big Tim Tszyu comeback. And I think the fight with Sebastian Fundora exposed him and really shattered his confidence. To fight a guy on 2 weeks' notice, someone that should have been a walkthrough, and to lose in the way you did, especially by decision because of a cut, you're blind, you can't really see what's going on. That's that's going to hurt any man's confidence. It's going to hurt any fighter's confidence, I should say. What do you think is next for Tim Tszyu? I think he takes a long break. I think he looks in the mirror. I think he decides that he needs to maybe take a step back here. But do I think he's done? Not necessarily. It's a coin flip. You know, after a long talk with his dad, who was in attendance that night, Hall of Famer Costa Tszyu, it might be one of those things where the father sits down and says, "Hey son, this isn't for you anymore. I don't want to see you get hurt." But also knowing the Australians they're a country full of fighters, I have a feeling we will see Tim Tszyu back. Murtazaliev, though, very worthy champion. I would love to see a Crawford matchup there at 154, especially so we don't have to entertain this Crawford going to try to fight Canelo at 168. That makes no sense to me. I would actually like to see Fundora fight Crawford. I think that would be more competitive than people believe it would be, especially because Tim Tszyu was touted as having this aggressive power style that Fundora was able to weather up until the cut. He was getting tagged, but he was able to weather it. He wasn't on deer legs. And again, in a full camp, I think Fundora does a lot better than people expect. And I'd also like to address that people are talking about how PBC is dying and PBC is dead. I'm sorry, your boxing organization being hosted on Amazon Prime is not an indication of death. It's not a slow death either. I think when you have cards like Benavidez and Morrell coming up, I think when you have these big fights coming up, you know, that we've already had, and now we're going into, it's not indication of that. Yes, this is not 2023 anymore. We are not getting super fight after super fight after super fight. But we are not dying by any stretch of the imagination. Oscar De La Hoya is sitting here saying, "Oh, we need Spence or Charlo versus Murtazaliev or whoever the hell." Spence is a nobody now. I don't need to see him fight anymore. And Charlo, I don't want to see either one of the Charlos fight. So I don't know what the fuck Oscar De La Hoya is talking about. Talking about PBC is dying, but have Spencer Charlo fight. That makes zero sense to me. What do you guys think? You know, let me know what you think about the friggin' about the Tim Tszyu loss. Was he always overrated? And also let me know what you think about the current state of PBC. Is PBC on the downslope? Are we running out of stars at PBC? Or are we still going to be in good standing moving forward with Amazon Prime? I just don't think it looks like a movie every single time. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is all with new camera equipment, by the way. So let me know how this looks. And I hope you guys have a great freaking day. That's it. I'm done.